Salutations, listeners.
Si balas valheo.
Baller Margulis.
Nanu. Thank you for tuning in. This is Three Men and a Basement, and we are the Ultra Crepidarians. My name is Colin McLeod.
Mark Gulp here.
Action Jackson.
In this podcast, we review movies, and we like to deliver to you, the listener, an average schmuck's opinion about hidden gems in the wide world of cinema. In this podcast, we try and target movies that are not total blockbuster smashes, nothing that top the charts. We're also not aiming for ones that are so obscure that you couldn't get your hands on a copy even if you wanted to. Instead, we aim for that sweet spot of movies, right in the middle, those that you've probably heard of or maybe sound familiar.
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly.
Were you saying you don't want to do Transformers next week?
Transform.
Yeah.
We're going to transform.
Yeah, Michael Bay.
This podcast into Michael Bay.
Kaboom.
Explosions.
Roll
Yes.
out.
Colors. Flashes.
Turtles.
Oh, yeah, he directed
He
that. didn't
directed Turtles.
Oh, wow. That you made me sad.
Yeah. Megan Fox, though.
That's why.
As much as I love Megan Fox, I also have to say that contributes to the sad factor.
Yeah,
Like,
kind of a little bit.
She shouldn't be in a
Little bit.
in a Turtles movie. So if you're new here, this is kind of how it works. We are going to take you through a spoiler-free version of the movie where we give you some specs and we go through like the IMDb description and give you a pre-spoiler rec on our opinion of the movie. Then we move into spoiler territory. We're going to give you our accounting of the movie beat by beat if we can. And then we are going to rate it, scene score it, slap it on the bottom, and send it out into the wide world for your listening pleasure. Right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
You don't have to enjoy it, but you do have to listen to it.
Yes.
Okay?
In
Okay.
this, the 63st,
That sounds right.
Yeah, I'll accept it.
the 63st episode of the podcast, we watched the movie
The Attorney.
The lawyer?
The Judge.
Oh, the client.
That's
Der
it.
Client.
Yeah.
The Client. The Client. Some of you who were around in 1994 or watched television in the mid-90s might remember this movie. I think this movie was one of those kind of like awakenings where it was high profile in its day and then sort of like
Faded into obscurity.
inexplicably faded into obscurity.
Yeah.
This movie has no right fading, but we'll get to that.
Had it not faded, perhaps we wouldn't have done it, so I'm kind of glad it did.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. That's
Just
a good
saying.
point.
Like- just saying.
Like, I had never heard of this movie, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we'll get to it, but I think you could probably say that having watched it, you're sitting there going, how have I never heard of this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the particular belly button that we like to scratch.
Yeah, we pull the lint out of that belly button. And what do we do with that lint, guys?
Smell it.
We
Eat it. Oh,
I was going to say put it in the collection.
no.
We smell it and eat it?
You guys
is
don't
this
eat
what
your
you guys have been doing? Is this why the collection is disappearing?
Yeah.
It's what we call lint condition.
That my dentist might have told me to do that.
Is that what you listed for on eBay?
Yeah, lint condition. Wait, is that not a thing?
Lint condition?
Yeah.
I mean, Mandela might say so.
Lint conditioner. It's a Pantene Pro V
Specifically for your belly button?
specifically for belly button lint, the hair that gets trapped and stuff in your belly
It
button.
lasts a long time.
Yeah, you got to moisturize and, because you don't want flakes.
You gotta put the lotion on the skin.
That's right. Or else, you could get the hose again. So,
Or you got a dirty belly button. It could go either way.
Woof.
so The Client, 1994 film. PG-13. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Square.
Yeah, really.
Like, no contested.
No, easy peasy.
If you
PG-13.
went any lower, I would argue. If you went any higher, I would laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. It was 1 hour and 59 minutes, so 2 hours pretty much on the nose.
It did feel long.
You think so?
Okay.
Did it feel long for 2 hours, is what I'm saying. Not overall did it feel long, but do you feel like it felt like 2 hours?
It definitely felt like 2 hours. But it was weird. Okay, so normally we don't do this. Normally, we'll watch all the way through. Occasionally we'll pause if we need to. But, we paused in the middle. Almost directly in the middle of this movie.
Okay.
And I looked at the time, and I was like, oh my god, there's still so much movie left.
Yeah.
Because at the halfway mark, I felt like we were approaching a realistic...
So let me respond to that a little bit, because I agree with you, but I feel like that may have been the vibe almost because this movie moves so fast and covers so much ground that when you're only halfway through, you're like, oh shit, we've moved so far.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like the pacing of this movie is like really fast. I do think you can tell that it's more than a tight 90, but I don't know if it feels like a full 2 hour long movie.
Did it feel like it drug on to you?
No, and that's the thing is like, it didn't feel like it was too long, and I think the pacing was good for like, I would say 90% of it. I would say that there were small moments that could have been trimmed, but had they been trimmed, it might have affected the integrity of the message. I feel like the moments that may have qualified for dragging on were purposefully done so that it could emphasize a point.
Yeah. I can sometimes be sensitive to movies that, like, it looks like they arc and then they come down and then they blip up for like a half an hour or another 45 minutes or, God forbid, another hour. I didn't feel that. Like, it felt like a 2 hour movie to me. Like, it felt like a juicy chunk, you know? That's a bad way to put it.
That used to be his pet name for me, and he hasn't called me that in years.
JC!
I'm starting to worry.
Juicy chunk.
Juicy Chunk.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm really worried now that Juicy Chunk is going to catch on.
I hope it
and
does.
That's going to be my nickname.
I really hope it does.
Definitely.
like Dr. Potato Pants.
Yes. But
that was my other nickname.
Yeah.
But I did not ever feel like, I personally didn't feel like I wanted it to be short. It felt long, it felt meaty, but I didn't feel like the writing, I mean, we'll talk all about it, but like I was engaged the whole time.
Yeah. So like if a movie is a road trip, right? So you start and end at your destination, and then you hit attractions along the way. Some movies, you will drive for a very long time, and the kids in the back seat are getting restless, and finally you stop off at a destination, you know.
The world's largest ball of yarn.
Right, and it's almost not worth the stop.
Well, that stop is.
Right. But this one felt like you drive for a little while, you stop and enjoy yourself. You drive for a little while, you stop and enjoy yourself. And it was one of those, it never felt like we were driving for too long, and we didn't stop at an attraction that wasn't worth the stop.
Mm-hmm.
We also stopped at the world's largest rubber band ball and the world's largest collection of toenail clippings.
And the world's largest rubber ducky.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I made a comment to you, we'll talk about it later, but I think plays into this nicely, that I sort of expected something toward the end, and it didn't happen. And I'm glad that it didn't, because it's sort of like, I felt like it wrapped everything up kind of nicely, and it didn't leave loose strings or clawing at a longer runtime.
Yeah.
Okay, so what Genrys we got?
We got them.
Yeah.
Actually, the majority of these are fine.
There's one in particular that I take issue with.
When I said the majority of these are fine, I mean the majority of these are actually genres, and they are actually kind of appropriate.
And one of them is not a genre or a thing at all.
No. So I'm going to give you the ones that are appropriate before IMDb got their grubby little AI paws on our beloved genres and bastardized them into something cruel and unnatural. Thriller? Yes.
Yeah.
Mystery?
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit. I think the mystery is the weakest, probably. Drama and crime. 100%.
Strongest. Yeah. Absolutely.
I would say there's an argument to be made that there's a missing genre here, and I think this movie is kind of an edge case for that. So it's debatable about whether this is a genre, and it's also debatable about whether this movie would be considered that, but I would say courtroom drama.
I would say courtroom drama is a legitimate genre. I would say a case could be made. See what I did there?
This movie is an edge case.
Yeah.
Because the majority of it does not take place in a courtroom, but it is pretty squarely in the legal frame, and it does take place inside and outside of courtrooms.
Yes.
But couldn't we just leave all of that at the door and just say crime drama?
We could do that.
And do you feel like that would leave a component out?
No, I agree with you in that if you were to just say crime drama, you wouldn't need the tag of courtroom drama.
Now, there are flourishes that, like, could continue to describe it.
Again, I think that's the edge case. Crime drama and courtroom dramas. What is it, right? Like, it's on the edge of those two. But I do think those two are distinct.
The one that I would suggest is organized crime.
I don't know if I would call that its own genre, but I think it would apply
Right.
as a subcategory of crime.
Now, can we agree that psychological thriller is a legitimate genre and it does not belong to this movie?
I believe it is a legitimate descriptor. I do not believe it is a legitimate genre.
I think I'm siding with Mark on this one. I think it's a legitimate subgenre
Okay.
of
okay.
thriller.
I
would say thriller is the genre, psychological thriller is the subgenre, which again, I might give that whole courtroom drama thing, it's a subgenre of drama.
Right. I will acquiesce and accept that.
Okay. Do you think psychological thriller applies, Mark?
I mean, yeah.
I do feel like it is.
I
It could be
disagree.
used.
Okay.
Applies to this movie?
I do not think it applies to this movie.
Fair. What if we just stuck with the original tags of thriller, mystery, drama, crime?
Those are perfect.
I'm totally fine with that.
And there is one that does not exist, but does belong, should it exist, and that is legal thriller.
Yes, agreed. I've never heard of legal thriller. I know what that would be, but I think you could get there through existing categories.
Yeah.
And it's completely unnecessary and stupid. But if it was a thing,
It would apply.
It would apply. But I really think the problem, though, is, like, we'll get to the description, but as, like, a flash forward, like, the movie centers around this kid, and the kid is, like, fucking unstoppable. He's like a one-man army. And I really think that
That
he's,
would work. Yeah.
you know...
Yeah. I was gonna go genre of movie with child.
Oh,
I
yes.
felt like that would also apply to this.
Yeah.
Ocean adventure, even.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the ocean in the movie.
Yeah.
So
And that
it's
would have
gotta-
been an adventure had
has-
you gone to it.
Has to
Right.
apply.
Yeah.
Has
okay.
to apply.
So that's it. Ocean adventure.
Yep.
So basically, this movie is Titanic. Moving on.
I don't know why that, of all things, broke me, but fuck.
Hold the line, Jackson. Is there anybody who can help us understand what this movie's about?
Yeah, there is.
A little bit better. If who can help us is Batman with bronchitis, is that person in the room?
That's mean.
Did he say that's me or that's mean? I couldn't hear him over the phlegm.
I think the answer is yes.
That's rude.
That one I heard.
Look at me. That was rude.
Where are the other drugs going?
Swear to me! Rachel! Rachel!
Martha.
Martha!
Martha. All right. But in all seriousness,
Seriousness. Okay, listen, guys. In all seriousness, what's going on, Mark? Is there somebody who can help us?
I believe you had my caper.
a young boy who witnessed the suicide of a mafia lawyer hires an attorney to protect him when the district attorney tries to use him to take down the mob family.
Yeah. I think there are very important elements of this movie that are actually missing from that description. I don't think they would be spoilery to talk about, but on principle, we try to not give anything out that's not in the description, not anything you could look up yourself. But I do think that is missing sort of important elements.
Okay.
But I would argue potentially in a good way. I like that it gives you the first 15 minutes and then just leaves it open. Do you think that?
Okay.
Do you think that adding
Maybe.
details might add to?
I think it would help people understand where the drama is originating. Because I think without that clarification, which we will get into after spoilers, people are like, well, why not just blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm a firm believer that a description should not include anything that isn't in the trailer of the movie.
Sometimes those trailers give everything.
Yes, they do.
Oh my god, dude, I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off, but like, I literally like watched a fucking interview on YouTube with like some fucking corporate exec, and they were talking exactly about this and how they just give everything away in trailers nowadays.
Yeah.
And they were basically like, yeah, we just did a whole bunch of studies and realized that like, if we just give the funniest points and like the most important plot points out in the trailer, it's going to motivate people to go and see it. And even if they're disappointed, that's already money we've collected. We don't care what they feel like after the movie. We just care that they've paid their money to see it. And so they're ruining every movie in the trailers intentionally because they know people will still go and see it. And they give zero shits that they're ruining their own product.
Yeah.
Isn't that horrible? Capitalism.
Movie trailers were better in the 90s.
100%.
Movie trailers were better in the 90s. You had this deep baritone bass voiceover
For drama.
For drama.
But it was very plucky when it was a comedy.
Yeah.
You were like, oh yeah, we're going on a like plucky friend adventure and we're going to get into hijinks.
Yeah, and it was like kind of nasally sometimes, like, this summer,
That's right.
Barry and his brother go on an ocean adventure. And then it's like this like 10-second clip. They meet some friends along the way.
He was just an average hockey coach.
Yeah. But then you have the dramas and the thrillers. This summer.
Boom, boom. I said boom, boom.
I know!
Give me the next part.
Fucking broke me. This summer.
Boom, boom.
A young boy who witnessed the suicide of a mafia lawyer hires an attorney to protect him from the district attorney, tries to use him to take down a mob family.
And then it's like,
I think I overbumped.
but yeah, they'll do like a 2-minute clip with a couple spots, and it's this deep dark voiceover. Someone holds up a gun and shoots it, but you don't see what they hit. They'll show like a vehicle or a boat being lifted up or something exploding, but you have no idea what it is.
Can we all agree that trailers in the 90s, like the full trailer in the 90s, is what teaser trailers are today?
Yes.
Right?
Right, but would you say that that you like that description?
Yes. Yes.
Boom, boom.
Right.
John Carpenter.
So who we got in this movie?
Fucking everybody is in this movie. Jesus. So, top billing, we have Susan Sarandon. And if you don't know her name, go watch any movie from
Ever.
1985 until now.
She was in them.
Yeah.
She's America's mom.
Yep. She's still super hot.
She never.
She's never not been
doesn't-
super hot.
That star doesn't dull.
Nope.
Tommy Lee Jones, I don't recognize
Never heard of him.
If
him, but
I was gonna say
I think
the
he
same
was
thing.
in-
If you've never seen a movie from 1985 until now, Tommy Lee Jones is in all of them.
I think he was in Mork and Mindy.
I think he was in Gentleman in Grey. Oh wait, no, that's Men in Black.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody knows Tommy Lee Jones. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Brad Renfro. So I would not have been able to give you his name, but he was Huck in the Disney movie Tom and Huck.
Yeah.
Which we're going to revisit in spoiler territory.
Yep. Mary Louise Parker, probably best known from Weeds. I imagine.
Probably.
100%
Yeah.
Weeds. We got Anthony LaPaglia.
Yep.
He is definitely a guy who you'd know his face, but not his name, perhaps. But the two places I know him from are Empire Records. He plays the guy who owns the record store, the guy who's like a little bit older, but cool and helps the kids out. And he's also Mike Myers' best friend in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah.
He plays the cop who tries to help him out.
Yeah.
We have Bradley Whitford, who I know most notably from West Wing, but he's been everywhere too. I mean, Saving Mr. Banks, Get Out, Cabin in the Woods.
Anthony Heald. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. Again, I wouldn't have been able to give you his name, but his face. He plays the guy who introduces Clarice to Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. Trust me, you know his face.
Yeah.
He's also in X-Men and Deep Rising. And then Kim Coates.
Kim Coates. Good lord. Sons of Anarchy, Bad Blood, Goon. Yeah, Kim Coates is amazing.
Yeah. And the cast list just goes on. William H. Macy.
William
is
H. Macy's in this.
It just goes on and on and on. This is a deep one.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, on that note, not in a way that takes away from the movie.
No, it's not distracting. It's one of those movies where, like, a lot of the people in these roles, nobody knew who the fuck they were. I mean, like, when this came out, William H. Macy, Kim Coates, Bradley Whitford, none of these people were established.
Yeah, Mary Louise Parker was, like, in her early 20s in this movie.
It's movies like this that gave them, or was a part of the narrative that gave them that recognition. That they
Yeah,
have today.
and, like, Tommy Lee Jones and Susan Sarandon were probably the biggest names.
They were the only ones who
They
were
were the
of
only
note.
ones who were, like, A-list celebrities at this time.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so would you recommend this movie?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, no reservations.
No.
I can't-
General audience.
I mean,
We're going full Anthony Bourdain on this one.
Mm-hmm.
No reservations.
I wouldn't recommend it
That's
to
a
like
Travel Channel joke.
children.
for all
Maybe they would be bored. I don't know, but it was good. It was so good.
I mean, it's
So good.
PG-13. I would recommend this movie to anybody that is...
PG or 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of my own 13-year-old. I like while there's nothing like in here that I like would say is objectionable. I don't think he would care as much. So I don't know, but that's not really a. This is such a good movie. This
Yeah,
is an
it's-
amazing movie.
Fuck, it's so good.
Yeah.
So that's 3 recs around. We did not do cherries. Cherries on this one.
Big cherry.
Yep, pop over here.
I have seen this movie, I think, 1 time before.
How
Wow.
long ago, roughly?
So I saw this movie once, maybe 10 years ago. And when we were watching it, I think I may have actually pretty recently, like within the last 5 years, maybe 2 years, seen the last, like, 20 minutes of it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 1 to 1.5 times I've seen this movie.
All right. That
But
honestly
did not-
surprises me knowing what I know about you.
Did not have a strong recollection of the events of this movie. I had bits and pieces.
Interesting.
But one thing I did remember was how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this movie is fantastic.
Mhm.
And we'll get into ratings way later, but like, wow.
Yeah.
So are we ready to...
Thank you. Thank you for the
It's
dude.
probably one of the most interesting pwepas.
Yeah, that was really bizarre. And if you're new here, you probably didn't know what was happening just
And
then.
you're welcome.
Yeah,
You're-
you might not have liked it.
You're not having a stroke. Well, you might be. I don't know your life. Get checked by
Stroke away.
your doctor.
Billy Squire.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's a new market. We haven't really got into that market.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking about masturbation.
Yep.
He said stroke.
The good old one-handed listen.
Oh, you were
I've
talking
never
about a
done
medical
that.
condition.
I've never done that.
Oh.
What are we talking about?
It's life-changing.
Well, talk to somebody else.
When a man and his hand really love each other.
Oh, my hand. I love it. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
It's attached to me.
Outside of a bar.
It explores without... I don't even ask it to.
Yeah,
It
sometimes.
just finds places.
Like the Addams Family.
That's right. I call it thing.
Gross.
It's the tickle thing. Ooh, that kind of
Sometimes I ask myself the question, how did I get here?
that one kind of creeped me out. And I came out of my mouth.
Yep. Yep.
All
right.
So what do we? Check. Go to your doctor and make sure you're not having a stroke.
Yep.
I might be. Listen, we're all at risk, guys.
It's-
Okay. This is a PSA. What I'm trying to say is that I'm really concerned about everybody's health. Okay.
I'm really concerned about my health right now.
Right. So doctors.
Yep.
Yep.
Without borders.
Some doctors need borders.
Yeah, well,
Some doctors need borders, Jackson.
true.
That's right, Jackson. Be
Look,
sensitive.
I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm really glad we've moved off of the creepy thing that I said, and we're
Yeah.
angry
Yeah.
at Jackson now.
Yep.
Exactly. Because of the borders. I need
Yeah.
borders. So how's this movie start?
Okay. One thing I will say before we get into the beat for beat kind of thing of this movie is, we have this running joke where I'm like, oh, I think we can, move through this pretty quick because all of the... I don't sound like that. I don't know why I did that
Kind of
voice.
the opposite.
It's, 100%. That's what I was going to say, is we have this running joke where we're like, oh, the movie's like kind of simple and we can move through it really quick, and then we end up taking for fucking ever to get through it because there's a lot of interesting beats.
This was going to
movie-
leave a lot of meat on the bone.
There's so many beats in this movie. It's actually... I honestly can't even fucking remember what order they come in.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to, honestly, even if you listen to this section of the podcast, it's probably going to, like Jackson said, leave a lot of meat on the bone for a watch for anybody who's interested.
So how does this thing start again?
Okay, so this movie kind of begins with a mother leaving for work.
Yep.
She's in a trailer. You can tell it's maybe like not the best kept trailer. They're clearly struggling for money, that kind of thing. She's got 2 sons, young boys. We later learn they're, 11 and
8.
8? Okay. She's sort of barking orders as she's about to leave for work. Her oldest son is kind of helping her. He's clearly very...
Parentified.
Yeah, he's clearly very smart and willing to help her with the logistics of...
See, I perceive that as, yes, he's incredibly smart, and he was rattling those things off not to be helpful, but to find a mechanism to get her to walk away from her purse.
Oh!
Yeah.
And he was rattling them off.
Okay, maybe I just missed that.
And
So-
once he threw one out that caught her attention, she's oh, thank you, and he like smirks. and
Yeah,
she
I think it was
leaves
like,
the room.
exact change for bus fare.
Yeah,
or
he was
something like
staring at the cigarettes, and he was like, "You got your keys?" And she was like, "Yeah, they're in my purse." And he was like, "You got exact change for the bus fare?" And she's like, "Oh, thanks, sweetie." And she walks over here, and he snatches. the
Yeah.
Did he
cigarette.
snatch the cigarettes?
Yeah.
I think that's what I missed. I didn't actually see him
Yeah, he went right
do
for it.
that. I thought she just left them.
Yep.
Okay, good note. Okay, so but still, it takes
He's very smart.
quite
Yes.
a together 11-year-old to be like, do you have all of these things?
He's
So-
smart and clever, and that's an important distinction.
Yes, I actually have a liner note on that, not to take too early of a detour, but he is smart, clever, but very ignorant,
Yes.
which is an important distinction, and you'll understand why we say that as the events unfold. So the mother leaves, and she instructs them with no ambiguity as she's walking out the door, don't go into the woods.
Yep.
And what do the 11 and 8-year-old do? Immediately they fucking run off into the woods to smoke some cigarettes and be 11-year-old boys in 1994. So they start to smoke their mom's cigarettes and, you know, pretend like they're big boys kind of thing, and they hear a car pull up. And they rolled for stealth.
Yeah.
They rolled reasonably high.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they crit, but like they weren't detected. So
Yeah.
they passed the check.
Right. If there were any other enemies in the area, they probably would have been in trouble, but they were fine with just that one. So
Yeah.
they approach the car. You know it's bad because it's got the Confederate flag on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And they are laying down in the brush and sort of watching this guy. And the guy, I remember the first time I watched this, and actually this time too, I was really surprised. I forgot that this happened. He gets out of his car, opens the trunk, and he pulls out a garden hose and shoves it in the tailpipe of his car with like a rag to sort of fill in the extra space between the two sizes of hose. Then he feeds it into the driver's side door. He like wedges it in the window and then plugs the rest of the window with, again, more cloth, and then gets in the car and is running it so he'll like die. And I remember thinking like, oh shit, this is popping off real fucking quick.
Yeah.
And the boys are watching this. The 11-year-old knows exactly what he's going to do and sneaks up to the car, pulls out the hose, and then sneaks back into the woods. He sneaks back into the woods, and the guy like gets out of the car, gets really frustrated, plugs it back in, blah, 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 blah. And he gets back into the car, the guy, and this boy goes to sneak back to do the same thing again so this guy can't kill himself. And the guy like sees him in the side mirror and like fucking snatches him like immediately.
Yeah.
Throws him into the car and is like, okay, we're gonna fucking die together. You're coming here to fuck with my suicide. It's both of us now.
Yep.
And the guy is loaded. Like, drunk on booze, popping pills, brains a little scrambled from carbon monoxide.
And he's sweating profusely and just, like, super gross, bad shape.
He's fucking menacing.
Yeah. And he's in rough shape right now and is threatening an 11-year-old boy with a gun, like waving the gun in his face, and then starts asking him personal questions about his life. You know, let's get to know each other we die
What's
slowly.
your name? What's your...
So in rapid succession, Mark, the 11-year-old boy, manages to snatch the gun off the seat and holds it up in front of the dude's face and is acting like he's gonna shoot him. And this dude, like, talks him down after telling him at gunpoint. He's like, go ahead, pull the trigger, do it, kill me. And he, like, puts his temple up to the gun, knowing the kid's not gonna shoot him.
But also, like, pulling a gun on somebody who's about to kill themselves is not, like, the most successful tactic, historically.
No, it's not a great move. He ends up shooting the window next to Mark's head, and he takes that as an opportunity to quickly unlock the car and jump out and run back behind the creek bed into the woods, where this dude can't see him. At which point, he turns the gun on himself, puts it in his mouth, and blows the top of his head off.
Yeah, like the kid grabbed his brother on the way, and so they were both hiding, Fellowship of the Ring style, if you will. So like
that was my immediate thought.
Imagine the guy's the fucking Nazgul, and he's coming after the kids. The kids are the hobbits hiding under the sort of bank of the creek, and the guy's looking, can't find them, but instead of riding back to search the rest of Hobbiton, he shoots himself in the fucking head.
Yep.
So, big dude's dead. The kids witnessed it. And also, one of the kids has some info.
Yeah, so the important part of that scene was that when he had him in the car, he spilled the details as to why he was trying to kill himself. That he was a lawyer or an attorney for, like, a mafioso.
Barry Moldano.
Bury the blade.
Yeah, and he knew where a body was buried. He was aware of the murder, and that's why he was going to kill himself, because the guy he was working for, they're a little bit unclear about that, but like had kind of like turned on him, or he was starting to suspect that he was in the hot seat.
From what I understand, the guy who offed himself was a lawyer for the mob, and the guy that was going to kill him is the one that killed the senator.
Mm-hmm.
And
the body was that of a U.S. senator.
Accidentally told the lawyer where the body was buried.
Yeah, which
is information he should not have given over. So now the lawyer is in a position of knowing where the body is buried, which means that he's about to be buried.
And I think it's a combination of things, right? So, like, the lawyer knows too much, and he knows the mob is going to want to kill him because he has this information, because Barry the Blade can't keep his fucking mouth shut. But also, there is a brief scene immediately following this where Tommy Lee Jones, who plays a U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Louisiana, something like that, he is getting this information that this guy killed himself. And he's doing this, like, sort of Sorkin walk and talk kind of thing. And his guys are telling him that this guy committed suicide. And he basically admits to, like, leaning on the guy and being like, hey, we've got more information about you, and I know you're representing this Barry the Blade guy, but we've got enough information to, I think he said, break attorney-client privilege and bring you up on charges as the attorney because you're doing illegal shit. And he's like, I honestly didn't have anything. I was just trying to rattle his cage a little. I didn't think he'd blow the fucking top of his head off.
Yeah.
And so it was this combination of, like, the lawyer was...
He was being pressured by the district attorney, the FBI, and the mob.
Yeah, both. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. He's like, the mob's either going to kill me, and I can't go to the FBI because then I'll end up in prison and the mob will kill me.
Which is a great through line for the themes of the rest of the movie.
You know, it really is. I didn't even think about that, but it really is.
Like, the FBI taking some pseudo, very casual, not official in any way, responsibility for killing the man.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, think about it, because the reason that the mob was going to kill the lawyer and the reason that the FBI was going to arrest the lawyer is the same reason that the mob was going to kill Mark and that the FBI was pressuring him, because the same information that was going to get the lawyer killed was then disseminated to an 11-year-old child.
Right.
So the mob is like, all right, same equation, still gotta kill somebody. Now he's just 11.
And the FBI is still treating it in the same, like, casual pursuit at all cost, regardless of any, damage.
Yeah. And, like, seemingly completely unaware of how their approach is alienating, title drop, the client, right? Alienating the one person who can feed them the correct information, their pressure and their willingness to almost threaten or puff their chest at the person with the information leads to them clamming up and them getting nothing.
Yeah.
And making the situation much, much worse.
And both parties, the FBI and the mob, are basically like, oh, the lawyer's dead, but now the 11-year-old has the information. This will be way easier because he's just a dumb kid.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. They underestimate him every step of the way. So basically, the main kid, the 11-year-old, he calls the cops. His brother is fucking catatonic. He will not move. He's just laying there sucking his thumb. They call it PTSD in the movie, but the kid is having this, like, horrendous trauma response. The mom shows up to the trailer. The kid is, like, not moving. Her other son is missing. The 11-year-old went back to the crime scene and was sort of observing what was going on. This cop shows up, notices him, and is like, you're coming with me kind of thing. Like, let me, he's sort of drip feeding in questions to the kid. And the kid eventually admits, I'm the one who called 911. We just found him, yada, yada. Then they take him back to his trailer. And he sees the other kid, and they're like, we got to call EMS. So they take him to the hospital. His mom is riding with his brother in the ambulance. He's riding with the cop. And the cop is, like, low-key interrogating him, which is super fucking illegal.
Yeah.
Because his mother is not present, and an attorney is not present, and the kid has no representation.
No, the mom should have been in the squad car, or they all should have been in the ambulance.
I think the second one more than anything. Yeah. They all should have been in the ambulance.
But you can't deny he got results. And had he not done that, we wouldn't have had a movie.
Okay,
it's true.
Mark is a big fan of this cop, and, like, just hold on to that for our future descriptions of this fucking cop.
I'm just saying, he got results, and I can respect that.
He did.
As a character in a
results
movie,
are not always good. They're just results. You can get the results of a cancer screening.
Look, he got told off. He got told off at one point later in the movie, so he got his comeuppance.
That comparison was brutal.
He was good. I got results. That's good, right? Not necessarily.
Not necessarily for you.
It all depends on a certain point of view.
Perspective, right. The MRI worked perfectly.
The cop is a great character in this movie.
It's true.
But I think Colin said it earlier, this cop is a prime example of, like, bad examples of cops.
Yeah, the dangers of bad police work, and I'm not talking about, like, your standard, like, police brutality, like, beating a suspect or whatever it is. Like, this is an example of
flagrant and blatant violation of international law.
yes, but also like the more insidious things that can happen when you try to use the wrong approach. Mm-hmm. And like in police work, the wrong approach can really fuck things up.
Oh yeah.
And basically the events of the movie are set into motion exactly from that. This cop starts off actually like kind of nice, and he's just sort of, you know, you can't see I'm doing air quotes, but asking questions.
I can hear those air quotes.
And the questions, he's getting more and more bold about pointing out holes in the kid's story, and the kid is getting more and more uncomfortable. And the kid feels like he's more and more likely to be in trouble for A, what he saw and experienced, and B, having previously withheld information or lied about what's going on. And so this sort of goes on, and it crescendos in the hospital when the cop eventually like really turns up the heat and is like, you know, I caught you in a lie and all this stuff. And then the kid ends up seeing the cop take a Sprite can that the kid was drinking.
That he gave him.
Yeah.
He gave him.
He gave him
Sprite.
And okay, so what are we going to call the kid other than the kid? Because Mark. Okay, Mark. We'll call him Mark.
That's fine.
That's his name.
Mark, you are now going to be...
I can be Mike.
Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock.
Can you spell that?
Not when I'm sober.
Well, then it's not real to me.
P-R-I-N-C-E-S-S-C-O-N-S-U-E-L-A
Just like everything when I'm sober. I can hear his hair burning.
Bananahamock.
I was almost certain he was going to, like...
Banananas.
Yes, I thought you were going to transition into some Gwen Stefani shit.
There was a moment in my head I was like, don't do it.
You could do it. You could do it. Never missed the opportunity.
All right.
But you did.
I did.
So this cop is like fucking turning up the heat on this kid. He gives him the Sprite, kid drinks it, and then the kid sees him, Mark, sees him lifting this fucking Sprite can and dropping it into an evidence bag. And he's like, oh shit, like I'm in trouble, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then he is about to kind of like make a break for it. And the cop fucking corners him.
Dude, this is like one of the first audible laughs I made throughout this movie. He like leans in real close and he says, they have a special kid-sized electric chair. You know, just, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
The evil. So good.
Also, that's a lie!
Again, Mark loves this cop.
He
Mark
doesn't know
loves
the
this
dimensions
cop.
of the chair.
But he's like going into descriptions about like it makes your blood boil, and they got like the prison cells for kids.
Great.
And all this shit.
People are always taking kid sides.
Yep.
That's true.
He smoked a cigarette, Colin.
You know what?
We saw it happen.
You know what?
He's a criminal.
I see your side. The kids are in the wrong.
Yeah, he's a
Just
delinquent.
saying. No,
He's a juvenile delinquent.
it's not lost on me that
Which is worse than a regular delinquent.
Right!
And worse than a juvenile.
Yes!
It's a combination of both.
Yeah, it's the
It's-
worst of both worlds.
It is not lost on me that this cop is a microcosm for this movie. He is an example of the broader themes of this movie. Overzealous policemanship destroys lives.
Yes.
That was his purpose, and that's why he did what he did.
And too aggressive policing tactics will taint and destroy evidence.
Yes, that was why he did these things, and I think it fit narratively very well.
I do think one thing, not to jump ahead to likes, but I do think one thing about this cop that I did like was that from like a storytelling perspective, it's so easy to make the bad cop a fucking idiot. Mm-hmm. This guy was not dumb.
No.
He was clever, and he probably was a good cop from the data collection evidence perspective. That was smart to grab the Sprite can and do all this stuff, except for the fact that he completely missed the human element, which was, I'm going to alienate this kid, make him feel like he's in trouble, and he's going to run away from authority figures and the police and not tell us what he knows, which is terrible. He didn't consider that at all. However, from a strictly grunt police work perspective, the guy was actually really competent.
And we could talk about this all day. He's a very effective policeman. He does his job very well. And regardless of how he collected the evidence and witness statements, who did the crime is irrelevant as long as they get somebody. And he was going to get a result, whether it was from a false confession or a true confession. They were going to arrest somebody for a crime.
Yeah, and I think that's the blind spot that the cop had and the FBI also had. And I think later, Susan Sarandon's character points out really effectively for them is nobody is wondering who killed this guy. It is a very clear-cut suicide.
Yep.
You know this kid is not implicated in this guy's death. All you're saying is that you think this kid has information that he's not telling you. So treating the kid like a fucking criminal is not helping your fucking case.
Nope.
The kid is not going to tell you, and you're shooting yourself in the goddamn foot, and nobody from a law enforcement perspective seems to be able to see that.
Well, and they know that the reason that the lawyer killed himself was because the mob was after him.
Right.
They know that.
Yeah.
And so now they know that this kid has information. They don't know what the information is, but they know he has information that he's not saying.
Right.
Which means he's afraid of the mob.
Yeah.
Well-
so stop grilling him like a criminal and put him into protective
Jackson,
custody.
though, you have to take their perspective, though, okay? Maybe they won't be able to get the mob, but they can at least get an 11-year-old for obstruction.
That's true.
They're
and
still
actually, there's
winning.
Yeah.
You know what, Mark? You're right. And Jackson, there's one other thing that you're like forgetting about in this whole scenario is that they have teeny tiny electric chairs for these kids so they can boil their blood and fry them like bacon.
You trying to say that was a waste of money installing that? No, there was a reason for this.
They built that electric chair for a reason.
Because they care.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
You know, nobody wants to sit in an oversized chair. It's embarrassing. It makes
That's
you
right.
feel like a tiny person.
not
Yeah, it's
appropriate.
emasculating.
Exactly.
It
And
is.
the last
And
thing
it's
I
demeaning.
want, the last thing I want, when the last thing that I want is the last thing that I will want, is to feel that way.
Is
Right.
an inappropriately sized chair.
I wouldn't want to feel small when I'm being electrocuted to death.
Exactly.
Chairs are important, guys.
That's
Yeah.
inhumane.
Yep.
Okay?
So what happens next?
Okay, so the kid runs away. While he was in the hospital with his brother, there's a brief scene where there's this fucking lawyer who is poaching clients in the fucking emergency room waiting room. Like, as Jackson put it, it gives ambulance chaser a whole new meaning.
Oh, God.
The guy's like, you look like you got into a car accident. I could get you $600,000. And he, like, left a flyer on the ground. So the kid, like, picked it up and he runs to this building where this, like, shyster lawyer is. And he goes in and gets turned away immediately by the secretary because it's not an injury lawsuit.
Yeah, it's not a personal injury lawsuit. So I wanted to drop one of my quotes here because as this lawyer is chasing the injured man out of the emergency room, trying to get him as a client, he says, and I quote, "Call Gil Beal. You'll see I'm for real." And I'm like, that statement in and of itself does not instill confidence.
It doesn't me.
It,
It rhymes.
But
It does rhyme.
The best part is I didn't write this down in my quotes, but the guy that he was trying to pressure to, like, hire him, he sees the flyer, throws it on the ground, and he goes, "Man, there's more lawyers here than there are doctors." And he's in a hospital.
I thought you were going to give the quote for the secretary when he walks in and
Oh!
he goes,
That is, okay, so that is my other quote. Yeah, she's on the phone and she's like, "Can I help you, little boy?" And they go back and forth a couple times. And she's like, "Are you injured? Do I look injured? Well, we only do injuries. Well, I'll just go get hit by a truck and come back."
Great response. Great response. Again, smart.
The southern
Not-
accents.
Smart but ignorant, this kid. So he's basically like going door to door looking for an attorney, and he ends up finding a door at the end of the hall. Lo and behold, it's Susan Sarandon, and it actually, she's not even a criminal attorney or anything like that. On her door, it's like
Isn't she a divorce attorney? or
divorce, child custody, and like one other thing
Yeah.
related to that. And he's like not very impressed that she's a gal at
She's
first.
like a social worker with a law degree.
Basically.
Yeah.
So he ends up hiring her for $1. And he's sort of like picking her brain, and she's kind of entertaining his questions, largely because he's been on the front page of the paper as the kid who saw the fucking murder, and the FBI.
And the entire country knows his name.
Yeah. So she ends up taking his case for $1 because that's all he had in his pocket, and she is a fucking bulldog, like a total
my
badass.
God.
She is the coolest fucking person. She's so. Oh man, it's as somebody who's not a lawyer, I'm sure a real lawyer would be like, that's fucking hogwash. But as somebody who doesn't know that shit, it is so cool to like watch somebody speak in legalese in a movie, and you know, she's like, well, and just has a
dude.
fucking retort for everything. It's so good.
One
It's
of-
so good.
One of my likes, and I might belabor it a little bit later, but I'll give the nuts and bolts of it. Mark is being questioned by the district attorney and his FBI goons, right? They've arrived on the scene, they are investigating the case, and they want a meeting with him. So he sits down in this boardroom with these guys, and one of them discreetly pulls out a tape recorder to try and, gotcha. And he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom real bad. And they're like, all right, well, hurry back. So he leaves the room and she walks in and she's kind of like feigning ignorance and kind of acting like nervous. Like
she plays like the babe in the woods
like,
kind of thing.
I'm just a small town lady lawyer. Don't mind me.
She totally does.
Oh my goodness, I'm so flustered.
I do believe I'm getting the vapors.
They have this grin on their face like wolves that just encountered a lost sheep. They're like, oh, this is gonna be
we got this
so easy. And then she's like, so you did question him without his mom present. You did lie to him, and you tried to corner him into, yada yada. And they're like,
no, that's not how I remember it happening.
That's not how I remember happening. And then she pulls out her own tape recorder that she planted on Mark, and she's like, really? Because you said this verbatim, and plays the tape, and they're just like, ugh. And you see the guy discreetly put his tape recorder back in his bag, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh, and the best part of that is, like, she goes to walk out after handing them their fucking asses, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, that's blackmail, counselor. And she goes, indict me.
Yeah.
And she walks out because, like, basically, if he were to bring any charge towards her for that, the tape would have to be evidence admissible in court, and they would hear him conducting a far worse crime.
Yep.
And so that's
he is obstructing justice in and of himself. Right?
Yeah, and so that is right. Tommy Lee Jones is like kind of first real introduction. You see him a little bit before that, but basically we get introduced to Tommy Lee Jones as a character who is an attorney. He's a DA, and he's also got his sights on the governorship of Louisiana.
And he will do anything to get that seat.
Oh, he is hungry for it. And he is like, he's kind of painted as this guy who is like, A, very competent, B, an exceptional attorney, C, incredibly fucking vain.
And very charming.
And D, extremely driven to get what he wants, which is political position.
Yeah.
So he's got sort of like two good qualities and two really fucking bad qualities, right? But he's good at putting bad guys in prison. And so now we have this sort of cast of characters. We have the FBI, who wants the information out of Mark. Mark doesn't want to give it because he is worried about retribution from the fucking mob, which is perfectly reasonable. We've got Susan Sarandon, who is defending Mark and his interests and his, like, plain and simple, his safety.
And then we've got the mob.
And we've got the mob, who is trying to figure out, like the FBI, what Mark knows and tie up the loose ends. Right. Like, say, move the body that, they were talking about.
Right. So what happens next?
Yeah, so
I'm sorry. I look over at Mark and he's just like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Well,
so at this point, we've belabored the intro, we've set the stage, we've met the characters. Now, I think it's time to go broad strokes and hit the major bullet points.
Okay, broadly stroke me, and
Yes.
I'll see how long I can last.
Yeah.
because it truly is the only way that we will get through the narrative, because we have covered the first 20 minutes with the first
20 minutes.
hour.
To be fair, though, I do think, though, this movie is very front-loaded.
Yeah.
The important beats of this movie are set in that first
That's fair.
20 minutes to a half an hour. You need to know why Mark doesn't want to talk to the FBI. You need to know why the mob might be after him, and you need to know how Susan Sarandon, like, what her role is in all this. There is one other sort of, like, subtle aspect that comes out that, like, Mark is from a kind of broken home. He's got a single mom, and his dad was an abusive alcoholic, and he has a history of getting fucked over by the legal system. The judge and the lawyers really fucked over his mom when they got divorced. His mom was a victim.
Yeah.
And the courts failed her. And so this kid has no love of lawyers, no love of cops, no love of authority.
They also covered her backstory, where she has only been practicing law for a good maybe 3 years or so. She had lost her family.
This is Susan Sarandon's character.
Through some poor choices that she had made, specifically taking some sleeping meds while she was also drinking, not trying to kill herself, but making poor decisions. And that was sort of the catalyst for her losing her children.
I kind of got the impression sorry, not to split hairs. I kind of got the impression that, like, the sleeping pills were prescribed to her because she was stressed and couldn't sleep. She took too many by accident, and her husband used that to gain custody, and then she started drinking as a response to losing her kids.
Yeah, I think there may have been alcohol involved when the sleeping pills took place.
Okay, I didn't get that vibe.
It wasn't
but
an
that's fine.
abuse of the substance. It was just a recreational, like, I had a drink, and then I took the sleeping pills so that I could sleep, and that's when everything got fucked.
But she definitely, post losing her kids, had a substance use disorder.
Yeah.
Which, like,
Which is what happens.
I don't know if I can, like, you know, dude, if somebody took my kids away, I
Yeah.
would probably do the same fucking thing. I'd
Yeah.
crawl inside of a bottle.
Right. But the point is that...
Right, yeah.
And it fits nicely that is the law that she's practicing. She's practicing divorce law. She's practicing child custody. It fits quite nicely into that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can really just sort of tell by the setting of those pieces, like you were saying, Colin, that everyone's motivations are different, but everyone's trying to do what's best for them. You know, It makes sense that she would take a job for $1 because of what she had gone through. And they do such a beautiful job of, like, stitching that in and giving you the evidence for it, but not filling in why that evidence is significant until later exposition in the back half.
Yeah, it's not forced at all.
No.
I know into this with likes, but, like, I think one thing that we can all agree on this movie, and we talked about it even during the movie, is, like, how fucking amazing the writing is.
Dude, best writing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
That's part of it, is, like, exposition is difficult. It's difficult to feed people information without them knowing that you're feeding them information. And, like, this movie gave you so much information, so much backstory, and made it seem all so incredibly organic.
It was a buffet of information.
Yeah, you didn't even realize you were absorbing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And until you're like...
Rather than, like, here comes the airplane of
That's right.
information.
Now, I think-
We need to defeat so-and-so, otherwise the Earth will be in peril, and yada, yada, yada. I don't know, father.
I think the only major exception to that might be in the beginning when Roy? Yeah.
The Tommy Lee Jones?
No. The attorney who killed himself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he overshared...
Romy.
Yeah, because it was Jerome. Yeah. He overshared to Mark. And I felt like that was a little bit heavy-handed, but it was also necessary for everything else to flow.
You can almost excuse it with the combination of, like, the booze, the pills, and the carbon monoxide.
Which I
and the
think
fear.
with this movie and how carefully it was crafted was very intentional. Like, we have to front load a lot of this exposition. Let's give our character a reason to be stupid.
I feel like, okay, so before we move on, I'll belabor this for another 30 seconds, but I feel like it would have been less spoon-fed in that moment if that information were overheard via a phone call or, you know...
Maybe.
Like if the lawyer had been on the phone with somebody and had been disseminating that information and Mark had overheard that conversation and then been caught in the act, it would have been less so.
I'm going to stop you right there and say, this was, keep in mind, fellas, 1994, where a room full of FBI agents had a single cellular device between them and they were passing it around.
You know
That's
what?
fair.
That's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid.
He would have had to have been with somebody.
I don't think I saw a single cell phone in the entire movie except for that one.
That one
So-
at the dinner table, and it was about the size of my leg.
All right, I retract my previous statement.
No. Counterpoint, though, 1994... car phones existed. And he was a high-profile attorney for the mob.
Car phones existed about as much as cell phones did.
Just saying.
I remember I had a buddy whose mom had a car phone, and it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen, and I think that was in like 1998.
Fair. All right,
So-
but to Mark's point, that was probably the only moment in the movie where the information was definitely spoon-fed.
Yeah.
And there was no other way to spread that information than to do that in, like, to set the stage.
Yeah, and I do think, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, and I probably agree, but I do buy the fact that, like, the guy was really fucked up.
Yeah.
And manic, and in a bad state.
So the next major beat in this is they have that little, we'll call it a deposition, right? With Tommy Lee Jones and Reggie, Susan Sarandon's character, very much puts them in their place. And then she's meeting with her client, Mark, in her office, and he gives her his version of the story. Tommy Lee Jones and his goons are on their way up to have another meeting with the client. And Mark is like, no, send them away. I'm scared.
Because that was after he got cornered, wasn't it?
That was after he got cornered, and the mob was basically like, you tell anyone what you know, and we'll kill you.
Yeah, the mob has sent several people. Like, one was like a PI, and one was like one of the actual mob goons played by Kim Coates, who like literally pulled a knife on this fucking kid in an elevator and was like,
that was freaky. Yeah,
say anything, I'll fucking kill you. And the 11-year-old just like,
okay.
yeah, just takes it on the fucking chin like a champ.
Yep,
Like,
he's like, all right, say anything to anyone, and I die. Got it. I'm not going to say anything.
I would
have been silent until I changed my pants.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So at this point, Tommy and his guys are on their way up. They know about the Sprite can. They have matched the DNA to the Sprite can, to the fingerprints in the car, and they know that Mark knows more than he is saying. So they are going to implicate him in obstruction, get the information they need, and close their case neat and tidy, and then have coffee and donuts for the press. Little do they know that Reggie is a pit bull of a lawyer, and she shuts them down again. At this point, there's tension between her and Mark because she's like, if I'm going to be your attorney, you need to be honest with me, and you're not being honest with me. At which point he promptly fires her.
Yeah, and that's that's some tension throughout the movie, is him not being willing to open up to the people who are trying to help him. Granted, to Susan Sarandon's character, because I think no one else's motivations were in his best interest. Reggie's character certainly was.
Yeah.
But he has no way of knowing that for certain.
No, because every single other authority figure has screwed him over or threatened his life.
Yeah. I didn't want to give out this quote until quotes, but I feel like I must because it is genuinely, in my opinion, the thesis of this movie. At one point, this is a little bit later in the film, Reggie's with her mother, and her mother says something to the effect of, he's just a client, isn't he? And Reggie responds with, it's just, he's never had a break and he's counting on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like...
That broke my heart.
It's such an amazingly clear way of capturing both her motivation, especially with her backstory with her kids and all that, but also her understanding that Mark has no reason to trust any of them. So, like, in addition to wanting to help this kid, she also has the added work of trying to convince this kid that she's not the bad guy, which is really fucking hard. So... Mark being both smart, but also a brash and impulsive and ignorant 11-year-old, he is very prone to like, fuck you, I'll do it on my own, man, like, you're fired, nah. He's very, like, petulant in that way, which is, again, you can't fault him, he's fucking 11, but, like...
And his mother is the same way.
His mother is very much that way. And it is a very interesting character, like, from, like, a creation standpoint, because you have this, like, brutal mashup of a kid who's way beyond his years in terms of experience and intelligence, but also has been denied some, like, sort of fundamental aspects of interpersonal development, social development, and, like, what do I want to say? Having enough to...
make informed decisions and be calculated rather than reactionary.
Yes.
You know, doing the right thing the first time rather than circling back after fucking up.
He's never had an experience that would reinforce that behavior.
Right.
Well, the engine is too big for the car that he's driving.
Yes.
You know, he's way smarter than his... It kind of sounds icky, but I think it's common, you know. Way smarter than his station, you know. Like, he gets his information from TV and from these sources that he doesn't have the wherewithal to know that what he's receiving isn't, you know, reliable information.
He absorbs
it. He absorbs it all and processes it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the stream of information coming to him is just a trickle. It's just too limited for him to really be making really well-informed decisions.
He's clever. He's very smart. He's not logical or rational. He's very driven by emotion and fear and justice.
Right.
Like Batman.
Like Batman.
He's basically Batman.
Yeah, I'm Batman.
But it is interesting because I feel like that gets a lot of people in trouble all the time.
Including him.
Yeah.
So he fires Reggie in a fit of 11-year-old rage. And he's like, just take me back to the hospital. Take me back to my mom and my brother. And she's like, yeah, okay, sure. You fired me, but let's go for a ride. And so she takes him to her house.
Yeah, I think that scene where she's at her house is sort of where he learns to trust her again a little bit, and she sort of like, gives the exposition about her kids and her family. Mm-hmm. And then I think there's quite a few scenes where he is in a women's prison, basically, for his own protection. He's in a separate cell block. He's in protective custody.
So, could I share kind of what leads to that? Because I feel like that might be important.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones and the FBI are not moving as quickly as they want to. And so their Hail Mary attempt is to get him more or less incarcerated, so they have him pinned under a glass, and then they can ask him questions.
They literally keep saying, you're not getting arrested, but it feels like they're really holding back a wink.
Right.
They're trying so hard not to wink.
Yeah.
The kid literally says it at one point. He's like, they're arresting me. We're not arresting you. Well, then what the fuck is this? Or what is this?
What the hell is this?
Yep. Watch your mouth. Yeah. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No. So, it kind of marches through. He's in protective custody. It kind of bounces back and forth between him getting questioned by the lawyers, not wanting to tell, yada yada. Reggie, Susan Sarandon's character, is still trying to build trust with him. He ends up breaking out of protective custody and getting back to the hospital at one point. He gets chased by the mob some more.
There was a really fun moment, though. He ends up lifting the arresting detective's credit card during a scuffle and orders 20 large pizzas to be delivered to the police precinct as like a haha, fuck you.
Yeah, I love that they like never circled back around to that.
Nope.
It was just a little like, remember, he's 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also love the fact that, like, a kid who is really in the thick of it in all this, like, legal trouble and stuff like that takes the time to commit credit card fraud.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, he's already in prison, okay?
It really hammers home the whole emotion, not rationale.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, I would say the third chunk of the movie, the third out of 4 chunks of the movie, sort of center around that. It centers around the beats back and forth with him in custody. And then it basically culminates in Reggie eventually getting the information out of him about where the body is buried. It turns out the guy did tell him, and it is buried under the boathouse of the
Dead attorney.
Yeah, the lawyer that killed himself in the beginning of the movie. And it was buried there because Barry the Blade, who is the sort of, I would say, the bad baddie.
Yeah,
right?
the villain.
The villain in the movie.
Yeah, the bad guy without sense.
Yes, the primary villain. He was the Sonny of this movie, right?
Yeah.
Where he wasn't the head of the crime people.
He was
but
the guy who killed the senator, so it was
the-
his mess to clean up.
Yeah, he
and
was the bad
The
dude.
lawyer was his loose end, so now this kid is his loose end.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the one captaining the ship of, we gotta either capture or kill this kid.
Meanwhile, his uncle, who's sort of like head of the crime family, is like,
You're a moron.
you better do this or you won't be doing much of anything in a little while.
Yeah.
And so Barry the Blade explains to his uncle in one scene that he buried the body there to operate as a standing threat to the lawyer, to be like, hey, if you fucking rat, this is what happens to people who rat, yada yada. So Mark and Reggie, Susan Sarandon's character, he basically convinces her to drive down to New Orleans, sneak into this house, and exhume this body to confirm that it's there before they approach the FBI with basically a deal that will save him and his family.
Right.
Fucking terrible plan, just FYI.
But then they've broken so many laws up to this point trying to, well, I mean, the 11-year-old has broken so many laws in an attempt to, like, not be caught in this, like, position that he was forced into.
I know, right? He was smoking at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cigarettes.
Twice.
Cigarettes?
Cigarettes.
Oh my god.
Twice
Yeah,
times.
so outrageous.
Twice times?
Twice times.
That's a lot of times.
Yeah.
Outrageous. But, like, I think the calculus is that we need something to kind of move the case away from us at this point, because now we are seen as a detriment to the case.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that Reggie at this point, as she's driving down to Louisiana to exhume the body of a dead senator to catch the mob in the act, is like, all right, we have veered away from legal defense and we are strictly looking for a bargaining chip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is reasonable
Yeah.
at that point. Because basically, she wasn't looking for a bargaining chip to, like, a get-out-of-jail-free card. She was looking for a bargaining chip to protect him and his family.
Yeah, she knew.
From the consequences of telling the truth and getting these bad guys caught.
Yeah,
like,
and she
because she knew
full
the
well.
FBI was not interested in providing them the protection that they needed.
No. And she knew full well that at the end of all of this, she would go to prison for all of the crimes she committed in the act of getting this kid safe.
Yeah, because she'll check him on like his actions, but then ultimately, I think her feelings pull her enough that she ends up helping him.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's just trying to like navigate from the back seat the best she can, and that's like the avenue that she has to take, or that she ends up agreeing. Well, was it his idea to find the body?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And he like strong-armed her. Remember on like the side of the freeway there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was like, I'll do this on my own and I'll hitchhike if I have to. And she's just like, fuck, he's right. He will do it.
Yeah.
He will die.
And he will die in the process because the mob will get to you way faster.
So it turns out that Barry the Blade and a couple of other folks chose that night, unfortunately, to exhume the body and move it because they were worried that if the kid had been told where it was, eventually he would talk to the cops would come and look for it. And so they decided to exhume it and then move it somewhere else. So the cops only find a body-shaped hole in the floor of this guy's boat. I'm so sorry. That was a little bit of a hole.
Yeah.
It's like how... I mean, it's better... I suppose it's better
It's
than...
not a body.
It's better than them finding a body.
Yeah.
But, like, there is that sort of, like... Is that not enough to put somebody away? That,
Yeah.
like, somebody's like, there's a body there. And the mom's like, no, there's not. And then
No,
they
it's
get
just,
there.
it's just a hole in concrete shaped like a body.
It's just like, it looks like you exhumed from this hole the cubic volume equivalent to a
United States Senator.
a human body.
But the legalese in this movie, kind of like, you could argue that like there would be a way to navigate.
Technically,
You know,
they
so-
never found a body, so
know,
they
I-
can't prove that the body was there.
I'd love
We
that
were just
dialogue.
planting petunias in a boathouse.
Yeah.
In the boathouse of our dead friend. That's not a problem. Is that illegal?
Underneath the boat.
They also executed a raccoon right next to
Yeah,
that hole.
just
So
straight up just killed the raccoon. And I'm like, okay, so there's a body-shaped hole under a boat in a boathouse of a dead mafia attorney with a dead raccoon with a bullet hole in it.
Excuse me. Is that a crime?
I believe it is.
Is it a crime
Look.
to have a hole, a human body-shaped hole with a dead raccoon with a bullet inside of it?
look, the raccoon fell down an elevator shaft.
That's right.
Onto some bullets.
That's right.
On
There's
some bullets.
there's gators in
Yeah.
them waters. This
With-
is
with-
Louisiana.
bullet teeth.
Silenced pistols.
So-
Silenced pistol teeth. It's a thing.
Jesus.
Look it up.
Okay, so they find the body. The mob sees them at the very last second. They run away. There's a tussle. Basically, everybody gets out of the situation.
Everybody walks away alive.
Yeah. The mob goes back to the mob. He and Susan Sarandon go, and Susan Sarandon ends up meeting with Tommy Lee Jones in a cafe.
12
And-
minutes away from the site.
Yep.
Very specific, 12 minutes away.
12
and,
itty-bitty teeny-tiny minutes.
and she basically makes their demands, which are perfectly fucking reasonable and should have been offered in the first place.
Yeah.
Again, this is an example of how poor policing can lead to worse outcomes for victims and better outcomes for criminals. They should have just offered
And the
this.
same outcome for the police. So
That's
they
right.
don't care.
This should have just been offered as a fucking option from the beginning. But she's like, basically, we want the kid who's catatonic to be moved to a hospital that specializes in this type of treatment. And when he's better, we want to move to a city of our choosing and then also have a job lined up and a house that's white with a walk-in closet, which is like a throw-out line that the mom had. She always wanted to live in a white house with a walk-in closet.
Yeah.
That was their demands. He eventually signs off on them, like, fucking begrudgingly, which is hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
it's so easy to do this, to take down a fucking criminal syndicate.
The federal resources that are being allocated to this case, a White House with a walk-in closet is pretty reasonable.
I mean,
Yeah, but
how
think of the
many of those are there in the United States? It's like 2 or 3 of those.
Think
in
of
the
the extra
States.
paperwork. That's take time.
I mean, the underwriting process alone.
God, you gotta
Outrageous.
Xerox it.
On a dot matrix printer.
So they make the deal. The mom signs off on it. Yada, yada, yada. They fly off happily ever after. And the FBI presumably goes and finds the body. They don't really cover that. But roll credits.
Yeah.
The Blade, I guess they do wrap up a little bit with the Mafia. The
Yes,
Blade gets
yes.
taken out for a ride. You know,
A
he
nice long ride.
He's
Yeah.
very insistent that he goes and finds the body.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, don't. And then suddenly changes his tune. He's like, actually, yeah, just take these 2 guys with you.
Yeah.
So they can look after you.
Yeah.
I could do it alone. I could do this alone.
And all 3 of them, like, walk up to him about 1.5 feet closer than you probably should be to
Yeah,
somebody
they're
you're
probably
talking to.
between 4 and 6 inches from his face.
Yep.
And they're all just looking at him menacingly, and he's visibly sweating.
He's like, please, God, no, Uncle Vinny, I just, what?
But I really liked, and maybe this is a symptom of it being like a 90s movie is that like things were kind of like wrapped up pretty well.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was a fucking bow
You know.
on this movie.
And it didn't feel forced. Like it felt, I don't know. It felt almost wholesome.
Yeah.
You know? Just the
Oh,
way
100%.
that
I
things were tied up.
100%.
So the final scene actually almost brought me to tears.
Yeah. At the airport there.
Yeah, there was a very, very powerful moment that got me a little misty-eyed, and I did not expect that from this kind of movie.
Yeah, it was when they were talking about how Mark was going into the witness protection program, and that meant that he could no longer communicate with Reggie.
Yeah.
And, you know, that hurt. But I did love at the end when he kind of like turns back, he's like, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna do that.
Because he does not give a shit.
But the part that fucking got me, she's been wearing this compass locket around her neck the entire movie, and it was given to her by her grandmother, I believe. Mama, that's right. And it was so that she would never lose her way again. And at the very end, when she's in the airport saying goodbye to Mark for the last time as he goes into witness protection, she takes it off and gives it to him so that he'll always find his way. And that almost pulled the tears right out of my face.
It was good. It was very good.
Which direction would they go? You don't know because you don't have a compass.
Exactly.
But Mark does.
Yeah.
Mark does. He could tell you.
Yep.
They're going down.
Downtown. To the slammer.
The tears.
Yep.
Likes?
I liked
All of it.
all of it.
Yeah, right? Fucking everything.
Okay, so do you mind if I jump in? So
I mind so much.
Okay.
Jackson, I'm minding. Look at my face. This is me minding.
I see you minding. I mind, but in the affirmative. Please jump in.
this movie is an example. So sometimes I think a lot of times like the phrase like this movie is cinema is art, you know, and I think sometimes people will use that for like really like abstract or, you know, visually eccentric movies. I feel like this movie is art just because of like the writing and the care. It was quippy. It tied in on itself. There were through lines. There were things that were called back to. Like I mentioned at the end, like Mark's mother never really got along with Reggie's character. At one point, she was really like defensive, you know, he already has a mom, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, when they're at the airport, Mark's mom's character is wearing a dress, like a sundress or whatever, that Reggie had just kind of thrown in a bag and like given to her when their trailer had burnt down.
Yeah.
And so like there was no reason that they had to reuse that dress, but it tied it really nicely. Just like what I had mentioned earlier with Reggie's profession, that she was a divorce attorney, she was a child custody lawyer, which tied directly into her past trauma and what she had gone through. And they don't say any of that stuff out loud, but I love it when a movie has those little details that, you know, just make it feel real. I like feeling like I'm discovering things that aren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But obviously they are.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. One of my liner notes was like partially from the movie and partially from you. At one point, somebody says to Reggie, I think it was her mom, says, "He's your client, Regina, not your child." And Mark just under his breath goes, "Might as well be."
Yeah.
And I was like, the writing is so fantastic that like when you as the viewer are sitting there going like, it's a fucking 2-hour movie and I understand this character so well that I understand her motivation for how this kid might fit into her life and how she might view that kid and want to help that kid in a way that is completely distinct from the way she would view or interact with a standard client.
Right.
You know?
For one, she wouldn't take a case from a standard client for $1. So, like, she took the case of a kid in need, and she expresses multiple times throughout the movie, like, he has nobody. He trusts nobody. And you said it before, he's never had a break, and he deserves one.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of calls back to that, like, this kid has never had a break in his life. She calls back to that in the airport as they're saying goodbye during the WITSEC departure. The mom is basically like, so you got me a White House with a walk-in closet and a good job. And she was like, I've never had that. And I'm only 27. And Reggie is like, it's about time you had a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fucking yes, it is. It is about time you had a break. And I could see you doing the math. When she was like, I'm only 27. I'm like, 27 with an 11-year-old child.
That's rough. she had a rough go of it. But again, like, it all just, like, it fits. Like, I didn't notice any, like, super glaring plot holes outside of, like, the silly, like, where was he buried kind of stuff. But like, even then, like, you could argue that, like...
A stupid mob guy might do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not that I'm calling the mob stupid. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if there were a stupid machismo mob guy... They might make that decision.
Barry Maldonado, within the context of this movie, was a stupid mob guy.
But there's no stupid mob guys. We're on the record. There's no stupid mob guys.
Stupid mob guys in real life.
They're all smart and handsome.
Yeah. And in movies, they are portrayed as these...
Which is totally unreasonable because they're really actually great guys.
They are caricatures of an unrealistic expectation of what the mob is.
Do we really want to embrace this market?
I don't want to
piss off this market.
I think that's more the issue.
I don't want to embrace them, but I don't want to alienate them.
So we will flagrantly shit all over the French, for example, but we're worried about the mob.
The French are not going to come after us because they're cowards.
There we go.
Well, guess who's getting guillotined?
Oui, ha ha. This guy over here.
Ça va?
Real quick, Mark very casually said about 5 minutes ago, and I've been waiting to work it in, that he said Reggie's Profession, and for some reason I cannot get it out of my head that sounds like a band.
Reggie's Profession?
Is Reggie's Profession a band?
That's a band name.
I didn't know,
That's
like,
definitely
I was
a
just
band
like, he said it, and I was going to stop, and I was like, oh, is that a band? And it's just been burning a fucking hole in my
I feel like Stupid
gray
Mob
matter.
Guys might also be a band.
Stupid Mob Guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds a little provocative. Though.
Yeah.
Stupid but not stupid Mob Guys.
Well, the whole point is that it's a joke because they're not stupid.
Oh, of course, because they're so smart.
Right. Individual misguided members.
Yeah.
Can, bad name to the whole
Sometimes
family.
People make emotional decisions, and as long as they are held accountable and are expected to clean up their own mess, I would not call those people stupid. I would call those people perfectly rational individuals that occasionally have very understandable lapses in judgment.
Legally eccentric.
Yes!
So the Stupid Mob Guys, when they show up for a gig, just like nobody show up on stage. And the whole running thing is like there are no stupid mob guys. They're all really, really smart.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like sitting there nodding, really happy that they didn't get the show.
Well,
that they
everything's
paid for,
good, everything's
because
fine.
everybody is like, yes, we agree with this.
It's like boardroom executives that are making trailers for movies. They don't care if there's a band on stage because they already have the money from your ticket, which proves they are not stupid mob guys. They are very smart mob guys.
Oh, there you go. Go.
So there are no stupid
solved
mob
it.
guys.
We solved it.
It's a very meta
We
joke.
cracked the code. Dan Brown, this bitch.
Another
What else do we like?
Another thing I liked is this movie required a lot of friction between characters who were on the same side.
Yeah.
And I mean, the FBI, the family, and Reggie, I would say, like, the principal, like, parties, And
They all want the same thing.
Right. And I thought they did a really good job of, like, explaining why that friction was there, even though at the end of the movie, everyone's, like, high-fiving.
And it breaks down to methodology.
Yeah, that and, like, emotions, too. Like, we talked a little bit about how Mark's character was smart enough to get himself in trouble. Maybe, like, a better way to put it.
He had a lot of street smarts.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of, like, snagging that fucking credit card in the scuffle.
Yeah.
Or, like, noticing the PI guy that they sent after him to, like, get information about whether or not he was in the hospital. Was, like, talking to him. And he started talking to him initially and then noticed that this pretty reasonable-looking guy had, like, a barbed wire tattoo on his hand. And then he was like... They filmed it so the kid was basically like, oh, maybe I
shouldn't be talking to this guy.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be talking to this guy. Maybe.
And when
maybe
the same
he's a
guy
threat.
showed up to, like, pick him up earlier, like, he recognized, why would this guy who I met in...
Yes.
Like...
He doesn't make a lot of stupid decisions.
Yeah.
He just makes very ignorant decisions.
Even the fact that he caught the police officer bagging the soda can, he was like, oh, shit.
I know what that means.
I know what that means. I've watched enough TV to know that they are going to lift something of mine off that can and use it against me.
Right. Why would they take that can?
Why would they take the can?
Yeah.
Right. So I really liked that they had 3 principal, like, parties that were on the same team that were all very intelligent operators within the narrative.
Yeah.
Why would there be friction? Well, they did a great job of, like, explaining that.
100%.
Like, Mark's character was operating with logic, but they took the time to like explain why his logic was going to be misguided. He talked about, you know, where he got some of his information. He heard this or he watched this on TV. And so like he was acting in accordance with that logic. And so you weren't angry at him when he was stupid, you know, maybe because you had a broader picture of everything, but like he was a very reasonable character.
You understood his side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, like, even when he asked the judge, like, can I take the Fifth Amendment? And the FBI was like, no, don't do that. We need your information. And even the judge is like, it's really not applicable in this case because you're not being implicated in a crime. And Reggie was like, I would argue that they're angling for obstruction of justice, which is a crime that they could place against this
And she
kid.
literally didn't tell him to plead the Fifth.
No.
He came up with that on his own, and she was like, oh, yeah, I guess they are kind of building this angle that, like you said, obstruction of justice, but also, like, you know, we don't know what went on in that car and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And, like, could this kid be implicated in this crime? That was part of their reasoning for, like, having him be remanded into protective custody. And it's like, well, if that's your reasoning, then this kid should lawyer up, and this kid should plead the Fifth, and this kid should not talk to you. And it's like, pick a fucking lane, guys. So just by the kid saying, can I plead the Fifth, he sort of like prompted enough forward momentum for his lawyer to be like, actually, yes, that's a fucking great idea. Do that.
And then he tells the judge to his face, he's like, I'm sorry, but I do have to plead the Fifth because I'm afraid of what will happen to my family if I don't.
Yep.
Yeah, which is fucking awesome.
Yep. And when he gets off the stand, he just says, I didn't lie.
Yep.
You know, and so I really enjoyed that no one was stupid.
Dude, I mean, I think I've probably talked about it on this podcast before, but there is nothing that I fucking hate more than a movie whose plot advances because of characters making stupid decisions.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like arguably the stupidest decision that they made was trying to dig up the body of the senator.
Yeah, but even then, like
They had to confirm that it was
They
there,
had
though.
to confirm that it was there.
That was their bargaining
otherwise
chip.
they had nothing
Yeah.
to leverage over the FBI
Right.
to get him into WITSEC.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, and the stupidest character was obviously the Blade.
Yeah.
But like,
Even he was, like, decent at doing crime.
yeah.
Perhaps if he wasn't picked up by the FBI, he might have been picked up by the fashion police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, okay, little aside here. Let me just...
Don't you
this is
knock
not-
that sleeveless fishnet.
This is not likes or dislikes, but I have to ask you guys a very serious question. So throughout this movie, Barry the Blade, yes, he did have a sleeveless fishnet at one point, a
mesh shirt.
very Night at the Roxbury, if you will. However, there were at least 2 or 3 scenes where Barry the Blade was walking around in green and or blue leather suits with no shirt on underneath.
Yeah.
And I my question that I pose to you and to the audience is that something that you think I would be able to pull off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Could you charge money?
Like US dollars.
Yeah. I don't know if you could charge money to watch you do that,
Yeah.
but I think you could absolutely pull it
But
off.
like if I walked down the street, people would be like, yeah, I like that guy.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
my question...
work. Could I wear it to work?
Depends on where you're working.
Okay.
You
So
know?
that's a yes. I'm just going to put that as a yes.
My question to you and the audience is, do you think that wearing a leather suit with no shirt on underneath is a rational choice to make living in Memphis or Louisiana?
Well, that speaks to what I was saying about the Blade earlier.
Yeah.
No, that's a stinky man. That man smells bad.
Yeah. That's a sweat factory is what that is.
how you
However,
ruin a
you
good
know
guy.
that guy musks up like a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like this. It's this.
He's probably
sweaty,
Scotch guarded by cologne.
Yes, it's this sweaty cologne mix of
Slime.
yes.
It creates
yes.
a semi-permeable membrane over his skin that water can't pass through.
I kind of feel like that guy probably wasn't caught at this point because they tried to catch him one time and he literally just squidged out of their fingers.
He's a wet bandit.
He's a wet bandit.
Yep.
Yep.
Don't like it.
He just
All right, so cinematography.
Yes.
cinematography.
Yeah, cinematography. I'm going to say something that may sound inflammatory, but it is not an indictment of my opinions of this movie on the whole.
Don't you inflame?
I think the cinematography was not spectacular. And the reason
Yeah.
that I say that is because it was very standard cinematography of what I would expect from a courtroom drama.
Yeah, it was completely non-distracting.
There were doses of Sorkin speak, the walk and talk shots. There were wide shots. There were, high angle shots of them driving across a bridge. I thought the shots where they were on the phone were very interesting because you heard the characters' voices at full volume rather than hearing the voice through the earpiece of the phone and then filling in the other side of the conversation. I thought that was really nice because the meat and potatoes of those conversations were important and needed to be heard. But the classic is to put the person speaking on screen, right? And they didn't do that. Mm-hmm. When they were in their phone conversations, they focused on the subject of the scene. The person who had the most at stake, the most important person of that scene, was on screen the whole time, and they played the voice of the other side at full, clear, present volume, as if they were in the room.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to push back on 2 gentle points.
Okay.
I'm going to gently push back on 2 points. The first is, I think there is an argument to be made that the cinematography in this movie was good in that the style and genre of this movie was like fairly diverse. Mm-hmm. Like there were elements of thriller, there were elements of mystery, there were elements of action even.
Yeah.
There were elements of all of these sort of a courtroom, it's got its own vibe. So first of all, I feel like the cinematography captured all of that sort of unremarkably, and I don't use that in a sort of pejorative way. The other aspect sort of ties into the first is like this movie knew its lane and it stayed in it. And if it's like, if you can capture the diversity of all of these different sort of like aspects of the film and make the cinematography not catch the viewer's attention, you have really done your fucking legwork.
Yeah, like they didn't leverage camera work and skilled cinematography as a way to distract from the actual substance of the movie.
I would almost argue that if they had any like amazingly cool shots or something like that, it almost would have pulled you out of what is a very deep and sort of layered narrative.
Exactly.
It would have ruined the movie if they had something really cool.
And so that's why I think the cinematography was important the way they did it, because they didn't use it as a vehicle for plot. Mm-hmm. They didn't use it as a distraction from the plot, and they used it to convey information that was important at the time.
Right.
I did like the only like scene that stood out to me in any way was that beginning bit where Romy shoots himself and they immediately cut to somebody biting through a cherry.
Yeah, and that was interesting.
Hard cut to Denethor.
They blew They blew the lawyer's top, and rather than showing that on screen, the second he pulls the trigger, they cut to Barry Muldanno chomping down on a maraschino, like on the tip of a knife, and then stands up in his very colorful leather suit and walks out of the room.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super, that was a great transition.
But it pulls you in, and I think to what you guys were just talking about.
And then leaves it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't beg anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it draws you in initially. Yeah. And that reminds me, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when we did the movie True Crime, there was a horrific scene in the beginning of that movie where the camera is panned in on this little girl that's, kind of like in a hunched over position, or she's
I think it starts on the teddy bear even, right?
Yeah.
And then it starts to and you're like, what is this?
It starts
Yeah,
zooming
it starts
out,
on the
zooming
teddy bear
out.
and zooms out, and then you see the girl's hand.
Oh god! By the time you realize it, you're like fucking crying.
It's such
awful.
a powerful visual scene that they just, again, like you said, they just sort of leave it there, and it draws you into the movie, and then you're here for it. So I just made that connection. I thought it was
and then
really
they use it as a camera trick. They really get your attention, and then they're like, all right. That's the only gimmick.
Yeah.
The story tell itself.
We don't need any more of these kind of thing.
Really good.
So the cinematography was perfectly well done because it was unremarkable.
Okay, so I'm just going to float this one out here.
All right.
Let me know what you think. This is also in likes. I thought all the accents were pretty good.
The accents were actually really well
done. I was really impressed from a lot of actors who I know don't have a Memphis and or Louisiana, New Orleans kind of accent. I was really impressed.
Tommy Lee Jones in particular, I expected classic Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
and I got this sort of southern drawl from
Yes.
him. Like, to quote Andy from The Office, it's more like a warm molasses just spilling out of your mouth.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was just so great to hear him do that, like, kind of Southern Baptist preacher vibe where he flashes that bright smile and puts you really at ease and disarms you with that Southern drawl.
Which works because that was his character. He was like a former reverend, and everybody called him Reverend.
They called him Reverend Roy.
And his whole gimmick was he liked to quote scripture in the courtroom. And as Susan Sarandon's character puts it, he knows the Bible better than God himself.
Yeah.
Which I will say, this actually, I think I might circle back to likes if I can think of something, but this is one thing that I did. I don't know if I'd put it in dislikes, but if I'd put it anywhere, that's where it would go. It just caught my attention that at one point, it was during that dinner where they were passing the cell phone around, he says to one of his FBI guys, like, he goes, "Right by God now!" And I remember thinking, like, there are a billion people who do this every day, and they don't have this thought. But, like, in the truest sense of the phrase, the sin of taking the Lord's name in vain is not saying, "God damn it."
No.
It is using the name of the Lord unnecessarily in order to illustrate a point or garner virtue.
Yeah, it's using the Lord's name as leverage to make your point.
Yes, or proselytizing that you are one way to make yourself seem virtuous and etc. unnecessarily. And he is kind of both of those things.
Yep.
He uses... Damn it, I was going to put this in fucking dislikes, but now it's in a like. It's a like now. This guy uses the Bible and uses religion in order to illustrate his points and cultivate a positive public image in order to leverage political office.
And he sways
eventually
juries with his little,
with his
Southern
little
Baptist preacher
Bible
charm.
verses. Like, I got to listen to this guy. He's got God on his side. And he does that in order to, like, telegraph virtue that he does not have. This guy is unscrupulous. He is not abiding by the letter of the law. He's interviewing and intimidating children without the presence of their parents or a lawyer, and he's doing these things, and like this one line sort of in a microcosm illustrates that. Right by God now, a truly virtuous Christian would avoid that in order to avoid using the Lord's name in vain. And again, it's not that nobody sins or makes mistakes. We all do. But the fact that he promotes himself that way and says, I am this guy who doesn't make mistakes. I am the guy who doesn't transgress or doesn't do blah, blah, blah. He's out here casting stones.
Right.
And so that one fucking line, God damn it, this movie.
And to your point, there is a scene where he quotes the scripture in the courtroom, and the judge clocks him on it. He's like, well, that's not actually Psalms, that's Proverbs, and this isn't your courtroom, it's my courtroom. So
tasty.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And... but it was just like, oh, got him.
Yeah.
But
you are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
But that fits perfectly with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I was literally trying to, like, clock a fucking dislike, and I saw that, and I was like, that's very out of character for him. And then literally as I was explaining it, I was like, God damn it, it's so in character for him. Like,
He
it's
uses
perfect.
the Bible as a smokescreen.
Yes.
And he gets checked on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not, like, again, like, objectively taken, all together, he's probably not a bad guy. He's a net positive guy. He's a good lawyer. He puts bad people in jail. But, like, he's not anywhere near as good as he pretends to be.
Right.
He pretends to be virtuous and pious and all of this shit. But, like you said, it's a smokescreen in order to ultimately leverage
using
political
it to gain
position.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it, this movie's so good.
Yeah.
It really is.
I do have one dislike, and it is so itty bitty teeny tiny, not major.
Well, then let's use that to shift segments then.
Yeah.
So we're in it.
The only thing that I could really pinpoint as a dislike was the chase scene between him and Paulie Gronke, Kim Coates' character.
Dude, Kim Coates in this movie has, like, this completely unreasonably curly hair and a giant mole on his forehead.
Yeah.
And he always looks so spaced out, and he is always puffing on a cigarette. It is such a juicy character for him.
Mm-hmm.
But even the mole was necessary.
The mole just, like, sold it.
Well, because the kid had to recognize that this was the guy who had the mask on that threatened me in the elevator.
Yes.
Without that mole...
He never would have known who he was.
And it wouldn't have made sense had he actually... So, like, that was... it was the necessary mole.
It was the mole of all moles.
So the
Would you
dislike that I'm getting to the heart of.
Sorry.
No, you're
It's just
fine.
such a good movie. And, like,
You're
I'm
fine.
finding reasons to like.
Also, Kim Coates in Goon.
There's
Anyway, go
a
ahead.
million reasons to like this movie, and I have to put something in dislike, so here it is.
Okay.
The chase scene took forever. They went down like 12 flights of stairs in like this wire cage and ended up in sort of this like
The morgue.
1820s operating theater with like pews and benches for people to observe surgical procedures, which may or may not still be a thing, but I did not think those were a thing. I saw those in movies like Frankenstein, where they were determining, nerve pathways and shit. But, like, I digress. But Kim Coates is, like, chasing this kid through this hospital, chases him down, like, 12 flights of stairs, chases him down this hallway, chases him into this operating theater, and is questioning him and, like, trying to get him cornered. And then he chases him into this hallway, and Mark hides behind a rack of, like, lunch trays, and it's...
They were definitely body parts preserved in formaldehyde.
Okay.
If you look closely, it was difficult to see because it was very dark, but I remember thinking like, oh my god.
That's valid. And so then he ultimately chases him into the morgue, and Mark is hiding under a white sheet, and Kim Coates' character wanders into one of the body freezers, and Mark traps him in there. And I was like, okay, we could have gotten there like 4 beats earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We could have skipped 10 flights of stairs and 2 hallways and an operating theater and ended up in the morgue and just gotten there with the same impact.
And you can definitely open those doors from the inside.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 things. One, while I think it is completely inconsequential, I do agree with you. They could have trimmed some fat, but I think all we would have saved is maybe 45 seconds to a minute. But point stands, You're not wrong about that scene. Second point, can we all agree that Body Freezer is absolutely a black metal band from Sweden?
Yeah.
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 Body Freezer.
Yeah.
God, I want to listen to Body Freezer so bad.
I'm curious if part of why it stood out to you as like unnecessary is that this movie is such, I don't know, I'm going to use like the word highbrow, but that's not really what I mean. Like it's such
Medium brow.
The writing and the dialogue are so juicy that the departure from the richness of that to just a standard chase scene felt like it was out of place. At least, is that at all kind of what you mean, or am I scratching something different?
That's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, every shot in this movie is so damn important because of the information that is being disseminated from the characters on screen. Mm-hmm. And the only information that we gleaned from the scene where he's running from Gronky is that the mob is trying to kill him, which we already know.
Right.
And the mechanism that is achieved there is that he broke out of the detention facility, he was caught by the mob in the hospital, and ran from the guy, and it gives him an opportunity to call his lawyer, Reggie, and say, hey, they just tried to get me. Come get me before they do.
Right.
And so, like, I think that's the point that I'm trying to make, is, like, that was a lot of nothing that, like you said, ultimately ended up being, like, 2 minutes of screen time, but
it felt separate.
It felt separate from the story in a way that it felt out of place. Mm-hmm. Now, that scene being in the movie didn't remove me. It didn't lower the stakes. It didn't make it worse. It was just kind of unnecessary, and it was like, all right, we could have skipped the staircase, the operating theater, and at least one of the hallways and still gotten there.
While I agree that it was long, I don't know if I'll agree with you guys that it was, like, A, strictly unnecessary, or B, like, I was into it. I thought it was exciting. Well, I didn't feel like it was a departure from the movie the way you guys are describing.
Well, hang on though.
However,
contextually though, we are trying to find something that love.
We are burning for it.
Like, so we're hyper focusing on.
If I have to put something in the dislikes, that's what it's.
Yes,
gonna be.
and I think it's a reasonable thing to focus on, just because. Yeah, it was probably a little belabored.
But, like, what else is there? Like, this movie is so good.
I can't think of anything else in the movie that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to really, really, really split hairs, we could have skipped one shot of Mark reacting to the goons underneath the boat exhuming the body. Because they panned to the goons, panned to him, panned to the goons, panned to him, panned to the goons, and then panned to him escaping.
Yeah, so
we could have skipped one of those and saved 10 seconds of screen time. But ultimately, that doesn't matter.
At all. But, like, yeah.
It's tight. It's a tight movie.
And it does kind of build tension, so I'm splitting micro hairs.
Yeah,
here.
right. Okay, so I think that's probably all we got for dislikes. One thing I do want to touch on real quick before we move on. So we mentioned that the kid who plays Mark, Brad Renfro, he was Huckleberry Finn in Tom and Huck, the Disney movie. The parallels between, this isn't a like or dislike, but just the parallels between his character in this and his character in that movie are, like, I think pretty stark.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, they're both kids who were born, like, impoverished, with not a lot of opportunity, but they are smart. You know, they're clever, they're resourceful, and they are sort of, like, on their own. They have a distrust for authority figures. They're strong. And actually, there were even some really direct parallels between the scene where he was in the top of the boathouse and the scene in Tom and Huck, where they're, like, in the top of the church, and it's, like, Tom's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, he's, like, what, probably 5 or 6 years older than Tom and Huck, but, like, I just thought the parallels were too strong to not mention.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting little fun thing if you're familiar with or you like that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Worth noting. Okay, are we ready to move on to quotes? Don Quixotes?
I think so.
Yes.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, how many you got?
Well, I had 2. I already used 1.
So you have 7 left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed when, so movies like this, very quotable because the dialogue is just so rich, but it hits a certain point for me where I'm so engaged with it that, like, I don't even want to write the quotes down because, like, I just want to keep listening.
It's just good writing at some point.
Yeah.
It's just like this well written.
And I thought it was funny when Roy, this was after they basically incarcerated Mark. He's just his quick little line, 1 child in jail. You know?
Yeah.
And just how, like, flippantly and, like, I don't know. I thought it was funny. But this movie is infinitely quotable.
Oh, yeah. So I did give 2 of my quotes earlier, so I have 7 left.
Well, obviously. Yeah, that's math.
So the first quote that I have is like one of the first lines of the movie, because the kids have, like, stolen the cigarettes and gone into the woods against their mother's express desires. And the younger brother, I can't remember his name, but the little brother who's, like, catatonic from...
I think it's Gaston.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Hubert.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Hubert or Pubert. Either one.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Could be both.
Could be both. Huberty, Puberty, whatever their last name was.
Duberty.
Duberty. Huberty, Puberty, Duberty.
Yep.
Which is also a band name. Huberty, Puberty, what is it?
Puberty, Duberty.
I don't know if it was exactly
Esquire,
that.
LLC.
Roll the tape back.
Duck out.
Duck out. But yeah, so, like, the boys are walking through the woods by the creek and talking about cigarettes because cigarettes are cool. And the little brother goes, "How many does Dad smoke?" And Mark goes, 100 a day. "Oh, he's gonna die soon." And Mark goes, "I hope." I was like, fuck!
He wasn't pulling punches
No.
with his thoughts on his dad.
Now, I don't remember the context of this next quote, so you guys might have to help me. It is a line from Tommy Lee Jones, and he said it, and I guffawed. But there was a woman that was talking to him, and his response was, "I never liked that old cow."
Oh, it wasn't. She wasn't talking to him. She was talking about him on the news.
Oh, that's
she was
right.
She was a newscaster.
She was an anchor.
Yeah.
She was a news anchor, and she was talking about Reverend Roy. And he's watching the TV, and he's like, "I never liked that old cow."
They were basically talking about how the case was going to get delayed. They saw right through this guy, Tommy Lee Jones' character, and they're like, well, he's not going to like that because that means that he won't get his collar, and he won't get his picture on the front page, and he won't get his nice front page headline, and all this stuff, and he won't get interviewed by all the news report and all this. They're just going on and on about how clearly that's all he cares about.
She's like, "It's going to be a bad day for Reverend Roy." Yeah. And he goes, "I never liked that old cow." So my next quote is so delicious. And it's an exchange between Tommy Lee Jones and Susan Sarandon in the courtroom after she puts up a mighty good fight and basically has him dead to rights on their case. And he's trying to demean her for being a woman. And he just flashes her a bright grin and says, "That's a pretty suit you have." And she just flashes the grin right back and says, "Drop dead, Roy."
Yes.
"That's a pretty suit you have. Drop dead, Roy." Oh, so good.
I feel like you don't have to have seen this movie to know exactly how that went, because everybody knows how Tommy Lee Jones and Susan Sarandon deliver lines.
Yeah.
In, like, it's just such an amazingly, like, organic way, and that kind of biting conversation, like, you know how that went in your head.
So good.
And it's even better when you're watching it.
And my last quote is again an exchange between those two. While she's got him cornered in the diner on the side of the road, 12 minutes from the body, and she is giving her list of demands for Witsec, and she tells him about the White House with the walk-in closet, and he looks at her like she has two heads. And she goes, well, write it down, walk-in closet. And he goes, walk-in. Is walk-in hyphenated?
So good. I thought I had 2 quotes, but it turns out I have 7.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the first was an interaction at the beginning of the movie between Mark and hot nurse. I say that because
Karen.
she was a hot nurse, and also she looked like she may be the type of nurse that shows up to a bachelor party, and then parts of her outfit begin to disappear.
Yeah.
Not be there anymore.
You're talking about the stethoscope?
Right.
The stethoscope, because she's using it.
And the tongue depressor.
That's the other nurse.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yep. My mistake.
I was waiting for that to keep going. But she really had this kind of like shockingly. It was just very characteristic, right? It was like a short white dress that was way too tight. Anyway.
Yep. She had the hat.
They were, yes, and the little hat and the whole thing. So I say this because, like, she's very pretty, you know, and he, as an 11-year-old, is, like, clearly starting to notice girls, and he looks at her and he goes, how old are you? And she goes, 24. And he goes, you married? She goes, sometimes. I love it.
It's so good.
And then the other one is just, it was kind of a throw-out line, but I just loved it because it was said in that sort of, in that tone of voice that only like a young Brad Renfro can like capture, like very like just fucking indignant. He's just filled with indignity.
Yeah.
Of just like, how fucking dare you? And he's getting like hauled away, and he's like, I don't give a flying shit about the FBI. And it's just like, it's exactly what a fucking 11-year-old would come out with. Just like, I'm gonna stick a profanity in here, and that's how you know I'm fucking serious.
Yeah.
I love it. Are we ready to rate this potate?
Yeah.
So I've been sort of thinking on the back end. I'm ready to shoot right off.
Beautiful.
Mark's ready to pop.
Oh,
He is. Should we edge him?
Yeah.
I've been edging this whole time, you guys.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 8.9.
Whoa! Holy shit! That could be your highest rating ever.
Could be. I really enjoyed
Oh my god!
the writing in this movie. Like it was
dude.
really good. Garden hoses.
Oh, ooh. Yeah, he did not want us to take that one.
No, he didn't.
Ooh, okay. Oh, shit. Good one.
I've got mine locked and loaded.
Do it.
Go for it.
I was also going to do 8.9.
Oh, what the fuck?
I could bump it up to a 9 flat.
Go with your gut, though. If you were gonna go with,
I was going to go 8.9.
You don't have to have a different score.
I mean, yeah, okay, so,
That's not a criteria.
all right. Yeah, I'm going to stick with 8.9.
Do it. Oh my god. Okay.
8.9, even larger pains in the ass.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck. That's a
a
good
line.
one.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just came up with mine. Okay. I was panicking about the...
I swear to God, if you say dead raccoons,
no, but actually, that'd be a good one, too.
That would be a good
No, that'd be a great one, though. I am going to go 7.8 moles.
Oh, yeah.
Should I... moles...
mole.
Forehead moles or moles?
Just mole.
Just moles.
Yeah, because moles can be anything.
Anything.
Yeah, ass mole.
Could be an animal, even, perhaps.
Yeah, like a dead raccoon.
Like a dead raccoon, exactly.
Could potentially also have a mole.
I think we know that all dead raccoons are, in fact, moles.
Yes.
That's how moles are born. So, we're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Mark has brought out his typewriter.
Yes.
Which means that we're done, and Mark is now writing angry letters to the CEO of Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
Ka-ching!
That's
Definitely the sound of a typewriter.
that was
Yep.
that was the typewriter.
Yep.
I was making sure.
Yep.
Actually, before you write that letter, Mark,
Mhm.
Did you want to see if we had a scene score?
Scene score.
Scene score.
Whoa!
You know, we had Beauty, and then we had the Beast.
Yeah. Gotta have both. Dichotomy.
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 Dualism, if you will.
What?
The duality of man.
What was that dichotomy? What's that? Is that Yahoo?
No, it was
What's
it was a play on
Yahoo!
Family Guy because they were doing the sodomy.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. Yeah. Okay,
Might be our highest rating yet.
thank you to everyone who filled out our movie familiarity survey. If you didn't fill out the movie familiarity survey for this episode, you're dead to us.
And
I think.
Grace will be attacking you with her army of bears.
Yes. Soon.
Bears.
Da bears.
Ah, bears.
That's the funny part. That's the last laugh that you get before you get beaten to death with football helmets. Is you assume that she's got actual grizzlies,
like black bears and grizzlies.
no, it's just a football team.
It's just a football team.
Yeah, and they all sound like Chicagoans.
Yeah.
All from the Midwest. Okay, Colin gave it a 7.8. Mark gave it an 8.9. Jackson gave it an 8.9. Our average familiarity for this movie was a 2 out of 10.
Wow.
I think that's probably where I would expect it. Only in that, like,
I had never heard of it.
Yeah, for a 30-year-old movie.
Yeah, like, it's 30 years old, like we talked about. Like, it seemed like the kind of movie that had a big heyday and then was gone.
Yeah.
And so anybody who filled out that survey that's like 35 or over probably has heard of this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 2 out of 10. Our average score was 8.5.
Wow.
And then...
Really dragged us down there, Colin.
I blame Mark, personally. I blame Mark for that one.
Most do. Most do.
And that's the funny part is, like, I'm so low, but, like, a 7.8 is a dynamite score.
Yeah.
It's so good. So below 50% familiarity gives us a slight punch up in scene score to a 9.2.
Wow.
That's fucking beefy.
That's got to be our highest yet.
Did we have a 9 something?
I don't know. We'd have to...
We can
Yeah.
review the
Yeah,
data.
we'll have to look at the data.
But I feel like
See
that
what we got.
fits because this is one of those movies that, like, I didn't know existed, and now it's all I can think about right now.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm very excited to tell people about this movie.
It does feel like the kind of thing that you're going to, like, bring up in conversation over the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I watched this fucking movie, and
Oh my god.
Maybe you should-
Can't stop talking about it.
maybe you should go and find that movie.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Are we learning?
I think so.
That is all for the All Corrupt Review. Thank you for listening. If you have any ideas for movie reviews, or if you want to get involved and contribute to the scene score, get a sneaky peeky at upcoming movies by taking our weekly-ish movie familiarity survey. Email us at 3, that is the number 3, menandabasement@gmail.com. You can also find us on our website. That's tmaab.podbean.com. TMAAB stands for 3 Men and a
Basement!
We also have an upcoming tour. The headliner is Reggie's Profession.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's a very put together band.
Yeah.
Quite professional.
Yeah. Well appointed.
Well crafted.
Stage 2 is pretty much empty. It's just got stupid mob guys.
Yeah.
You probably won't see a show, but you can visit and sort of like an altar, pay your respects, and acknowledge that there are no stupid mob guys. They're all awesome.
Exactly.
Please don't hurt me.
They're very intelligent and polite and dignified.
On stage 3, we've got Body Freezer.
Oh, that is...
Such a cool show.
They
Yeah.
shred.
It's so cool.
They shred.
Some would say freezing.
Yeah. It's like they have ice in their veins.
I don't know what else to say to that.
I know. It's because it's cold.
Brrr.
Below
0
Celsius.
Nice.
And then on stage 4, we've got Puberty, Duberty.
Yeah, I don't know if I would see that show personally.
I feel like
They just keep going.
Puberty, Duberty, without a doubt. They tour with the Wiggles and the fucking Teletubbies.
Yeah.
And like...
And the Backyardigans and...
Every member is being brought up on charges for something that you shouldn't say on a podcast.
Like, yeah.
A bit gooberty, if you will.
A bit gooberty.
You might say that Puberty, Duberty are a bit gooberty.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's
My thoughts exactly.
concise. Thank you.
Very stuberty.
Stooberty dooberty, if you will.
Ooh, I'm feeling Uberty. Those bands are all on tour. Most of them are on tour now. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast, YouTube's, Spotify.
Yeah.
And until then, I am Colin McLeod.
Mark up.
Action Jackson.
And we'll see you in cyberspace.
Dooberty.
Puberty, Duberty.
We're going to end them all like that.